What's up, ladies?
Just when you think I'm out of angles to shoot my room, I get a new room. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. I thought today would be a good day to talk about Mario Kart, so I'm doing it. I mean, let's be real. Every day is a good day to talk about Mario Kart. This one is no different.
Dude, that is so dude of you to throw that at me, man.
Actually, now that I think about it, Tuesday is a bad day to talk about Mario Kart. Don't talk to me on Tuesday! Mario Kart is mostly known for chaos. The item play in Mario Kart set it apart from its competitors and inspired a whole host of new ones. I love the chaos of Mario Kart. I love the feeling of using items strategically to get ahead. It's a real hoot. For as long as I remember, I've loved Mario Kart. There was one mode I always ignored though. I saw it as an inferior way to play the game. Time Trials mode seemed useless to me. You don't play against other racers, it's just you. Instead of playing with a wide variety of items, you get 3 mushrooms at the start. As a kid, I especially hated that you could lose those mushrooms if you fell off the course in Mario Kart Wii. How could this version of the game possibly be desirable to play over the main game? I was wrong though. Not that the main game is bad or even somehow worse than Time Trials. This video isn't about putting these modes into competition. It's about appreciation and good vibes. Specifically, the Time Trial mode I've fallen in love with is in Mario Kart 8, although I'm sure the other ones are good. In the main game for Mario Kart, there's a lot you have to keep track of. Even for a beginner who spams items as soon as they get them, you still have a lot of things you need to pay attention to. Items are strewn about on the ground, making traversal vary each time you play. You have to consider where the other players are and what they're doing. If they're holding an item behind them, they become an active threat to watch at all times. Moving toward advanced play, you have to consider dodging shocks and blue shells, holding your mushroom for the perfect moment, and juggling between holding defensive items while finding opportunities to use items offensively. And you know, that's all fine. Actually, it's really fun. Even though this is an end in and of itself, it can distract you from the artistry on display in the Mario Kart tracks themselves. The other players and items slow you down, pigeonhole you, and reduce your level of engagement with the tracks. The tracks are absolutely still crucial factors of the gameplay experience, but items de-emphasize the track design. In the main mode, the track is one of the many factors you must focus on to succeed. Time Trials are an intimate experience with the design of the tracks. Suddenly in this mode, all of your actions matter a lot more. You aren't racing other players. In regular modes, you have some margin for error. You can get a lead on your opponents and make up for mistakes with items. Even if you race well, items can send you careening into last. Not so here. Time is measured in thousandths of a second. Any minor shift, any mistake is reflected in your overall score. In spite of the urgency of your actions, it's quite a relaxing experience. You aren't racing so much as you are learning. If you make a mistake, just reset. You're committed to the process. As stated earlier, when I was a kid, I hated when you fell off in Mario Kart Wii and you would lose your mushrooms. Now in Mario Kart 8, you don't lose any mushrooms. I still reset though. It's a failure, but I don't mind. The point is, though, that practice becomes merged with execution. Every attempt is Schrodinger's practice. Either you beat the time you're aiming at, or that attempt was practice to get better. It's strange because aside from instances of falling off the course or any major mistakes, you wouldn't think that there's too much you could improve on. And yet, after a few attempts, you may find yourself soaring past a previous time. Even when you don't know what you're improving, sitting down and focusing on improvement will yield improvements. Over time, the course becomes second nature to you. Every turn becomes as familiar to you as the layout of your own home. You learn to anticipate the nuances and difficulties of the course. In one sense, it allows you to get a broader scope of the nature of the course. In another, it trains you to block out all but the specific path you need to take. Time Trials forces you to commit to putting undivided attention into one specific activity for an extended period of time. You get into a rhythm, race, anticipate your next action, make a mistake, reset, repeat. Perhaps you finally get a run with no mistakes, but you don't make it to your desired time. It's still time to run it back. It isn't as frustrating as failing in other games. Your goal here is still to learn. Mastery takes time. Your objective here is mastery. The desired level of mastery is a subjective thing, and it comes with time. Nintendo does give you specific benchmarks to race against by way of staff ghosts. In the game, you can race against ghosts. Ghosts are essentially replays of runs that you've already completed. You can use this to race against your own fastest attempts at a given course. There are also staff ghosts, though. These are ghosts that come packaged with the game set by Nintendo staff. They present a fun challenge to try and beat, and for each course, there's a normal ghost and an expert ghost. I spend a lot of time thinking about these ghosts. I suppose I have a lot of time to do that when I'm racing them. It's nothing but me and the track, and when I'm racing these ghosts, I get time to wonder. What was it like setting these times? Did specific people get assigned to do specific tracks? Or did multiple staff submit their scores for each course, and the higher-ups at Nintendo decided which times to use? Although early on these ghosts are easy to beat, I now regularly find myself cursing the names of Skip, Frank, and Fausti. And yet, even in the face of challenge, I still enjoy the relaxing loop of attempts and resets. Within this repetition, there's one consistent high that you get to experience every time. The use of mushrooms. To take a shortcut. Every attempt you get 3 mushrooms. These speed boosts allow you to go over parts of the track that would normally slow you down. There's something tantalizing about this experience. You're covering ground that would normally be off limits. These shortcuts are often the most technical moments of play as you speed along and attempt to stay in control of your cart. Assumably, you would use 1 mushroom each lap in the same location. However, sometimes a course may change layout in each lap, and then your strategy must change along with it. There's another mechanic that makes each lap variable. Coins are an item that appear on the ground that you must collect in order to increase your speed. In the main modes, even if you know generally that the coins will help you go faster, you may still feel less inclined to prioritize them when you can pick them up in item boxes or make up for your lack of coins with items. In time trials, these are front and center. Suddenly, every coin that you miss will have a ripple effect on your overall score. The moments when you have an opportunity to pick up a coin are some of the most important in the whole race. Once you pick up a coin, it disappears for good, so your route will have to slightly change on every lap. The limit for coins is 10 though, so once you pick up the last coin, you can focus on taking optimal routes. Within the intimacy and simplicity of time trials mode, the coin mechanic offers a slight hint of complexity. You must adapt to the default layout of coins as well as to what you've already picked up. Then, as you come close to the end of the race with 10 coins in hand, you can experience the track in and of itself. The coins that were once central switch to the role of distraction. It can be fun to explore and experiment with routes, but at the same time, there's no shame in looking up records. Normally, watching a walkthrough comes with a twinge of guilt, but in this case, it feels like part of the experience. If you want to achieve the fastest time, then it logically follows that you should watch the fastest time. In Mario Kart 8, people can post their ghosts online, so you can watch and race against the world record in-game. It becomes part of the experience to watch a master at work and try to imitate them. Then, we must not forget about the courses themselves. These speak for themselves. The courses in Mario Kart 8 are stunning. The designs are also really interesting when you're forced to optimize them. Coconut Mall has a section where the optimal path is to mushroom through a shortcut, hit a water fountain, make a large turn, and then drive at just the right angle to land 2 tricks on each palm tree basin. While some shortcuts on these courses aren't too difficult to pull off, some do offer a significant challenge. Those are an absolute joy to succeed at. In a normal round, you have something to lose, but here, you're practicing. You're trying to get good at the course. You might as well take the hard path. Playing this way also works out in your favor in the main mode. It feels so good to get a course that you've been practicing in an online match and dominate because you've memorized the best routes for the course. That's what mastery is all about. You put your nose to the grindstone and watch as your results improve. I'm no master, but I think there's something beautiful about this. You can remove the complexity and increase depth. The appeal doesn't stand out immediately, but if you stick with it, you'll be rewarded with a pleasant experience. Mario Kart Time Trials may not be the most popular mode, but it is the sexiest mode.